Touchdown.
In my mind, seem to think you step out, get some air now, let your head out, to some iceberg, you'll be heavy in my mind, can you get the heck out, I need rest now, got me bummed out, you, baby, I've been on my empty mind, shit, I should've kept from losing best of me, I worry that I wasted the best of me, oh yeah, baby, you don't care, sometimes I read the new sense, this is urgent, tryna make sense of little change, got me a war in my mind, let go, rain can't keep what's holding me, choose the right, but it will break up in front of me, I read my own favorites now, still wanna try, still believe it, noise, always inside, good they live in my mind, help me on my fears, my limitations, I disappear if you let me, feeling like Jericho, feeling like Joey, lost this shit, gotta hold my cross to bear alone, way to kill the mood, no, you like that shit, can't do it, baby, heavy on my empty mindset, I gotta keep the moves in front of me, still worry that I wasted the best of me, oh yeah, baby, you don't care, sometimes I read the new sense, it's urgent, tryna make sense of little change, got me a war in my mind, let go, he was holding me, to the right, but it will break up in front of me, I read my own feelings now, still wanna try, still believe it, good they noise, stormy inside, good they living in my mind, good they noise, stormy inside, good they living in my mind.
Touchdown.
Good day in my mind, seem to think you step out, get some air now, let your head out, to some iceberg, you'll be heavy in my mind, can you get the heck out, I need rest now, got me bummed out, you, baby, I've been on my empty mind, shit, I should've kept from losing best of me, I worry that I wasted the best of me, oh yeah, baby, you don't care, sometimes I read the new sense, this is urgent, tryna make sense of little change, got me a war in my mind, let go, rain can't keep what's holding me, choose the right, but it will break up in front of me, I read my own favorites now, still wanna try, still believe it, good noise, always inside, good they living in my mind, help me on my fears, my limitations, I disappear if you let me, feeling like Jericho, feeling like Joey, lost this shit, gotta hold my cross to bear alone, way to kill the mood, no, you like that shit, can't do it, baby, heavy on my empty mindset, I gotta keep the moves in front of me.
Oh man, I was on mute. I don't know if y'all heard me. Yo, okay. Let me set myself up. Lift this up a little bit. Oh man. Monday Night Raw, bro. Monday Night Raw. Monday nights. You know, this is the first time I'm doing one of these streams. Okay, someone said I'm on mute. I'm not on mute anymore, right? I should be good right now. Make sure you guys let me know if I'm still on mute. I don't think I am. Let me see if I sound straight. I think I should be good. Okay, y'all said I'm good. Okay. What's going on, y'all? This is the first time I'm ever doing one of these streams. I really want to make this as much as possible so I can lead into SummerSlam. I really want to talk about SummerSlam when it drops. So this is the first of many. Not going to be perfect, but we're going to get better. We're going to get better as time goes on. But what's up, you guys? Welcome to, what is it, July 24th edition of Monday Night Raw review by your boy, Omo Mustard. We got a lot to talk about because this Raw has some stuff that I have a lot of thoughts on. But overall, I'm not going to lie. This Raw was pretty run-of-the-mill. I think you could have skipped this episode of Raw, and I don't think you missed too much. Not saying there weren't good things that happened on the show, but I just don't think this was like a crazy eventful day of Raw. But I will say the one thing that stays a constant theme about these shows is that the Judgment Day keep dominating and dominating and dominating. I mean, you got segment after segment. They were in the first segment of the show and the last segment of the show. It really is crazy how much they dominated Monday Night Raw tonight. But without further ado, let's get on to what I saw. I have my notes here because I have a lot of things to say. So Raw opened up with, like I said earlier, a Judgment Day segment. The Judgment Day, they basically came out. They talked about how they run Monday Night Raw. You know, that's what Damian Priest always says in these promos. I've seen a lot of people online say the Judgment Day is getting boring. I don't really see how they're boring. If you find them annoying, they're heels. They're supposed to be annoying. They're supposed to make you mad, but I don't think they're boring because I think the people they interact with on a weekly basis make them entertaining, and the segments are nice. Just like this one, because they introduced Dominic Mysterio, the new North American champion. And I actually thought they did this really well because first they bragged about Damian Priest. They bragged about Rhea Ripley. Finn Balor then talked himself up as the next world heavyweight champion that he believes he is going to be. And then Dominic Mysterio came out, got the boatload amount of boos because, you know, everybody hates Dominic Mysterio. If there's one thing that wrestling fans can agree on, it's that. And then after that, Dominic comes out, tries to talk. He says he's the new champion, the new North American champion. And then after he gets showered in boos, Sami and KO come out. And Sami and KO, look, there have been reports that Kevin Owens is injured. And I think that got confirmed tonight because later on they did an angle. I don't know if it's to take him off television for a while, whatever it is. But they did some type of angle that kind of confirmed the reports that Kevin Owens is injured. But he came out, he cut a promo, and he basically was saying nobody wants to hear Dominic Mysterio talk. That's why they keep booing you. And Sami Zayn then challenges Dominic to a match, and reluctantly he accepts because he's not even the one who actually accepted it. Technically, it was Rhea Ripley who said, hey, he accepts the challenge. Now, me personally, look, I'm not going to lie. Sami and Kevin Owens, their championship run, it has not been bad. They've had really, really good matches, but eventually they need to find a team that they can feud with. And I don't know if it was the Judgment Day that they were going to feud with, but they faced the Judgment Day and beat them before. They just beat them last week for the championships. So I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, okay, what's next for this team? Because when you're following up a reign like the Usos just had, you need to have some consistently good feuds in that division. And there's a lot of people that they could feud with. I mean, Pretty Deadly was there, but they just did a one-off match between them. I don't know why they just did a one-off. They could have done a couple of matches. I mean, sure, Pretty Deadly was probably not going to win because Sami and KO just won the titles, but they could have done something there. Hell, the Alpha Academy. I'm sick of the Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders already. I'm tired of that shit. I'm really tired of that shit. I could have used a Alpha Academy Sami KO feud. I definitely could have seen that. I mean, they already beat the Street Profits, I believe. There's a couple of teams out there. I'm not saying the tag division is amazing, but there's some teams they could have worked with. And I don't know why we have to keep going back to the Judgment Day, but nonetheless, I thought that they had a pretty good segment. Sami challenged Dominic to the match. He accepted. That was a match scheduled for later on in the night. We then moved on to Becky Lynch versus Zoey Stark. Now, this match was not bad. I thought this match was solid. It picked up towards the end. The crowd got into it. They traded blows here and there. Trish got involved. Becky then kicked her off the apron. I'm fast forwarding to the end because the match, it wasn't anything too special, but I thought the match was decent. I'll get to my issue with the match in a second, but one thing I did like about the match was the ending. This wasn't the best manhandle slam ever because I always thought Bianca sold the manhandle slam the best. One thing I just completely hated about the manhandle slam is that she never really gets a lot of height on that move. It looks really bad at times and sloppy. But nonetheless, she actually got a little bit of height on the manhandle slam in this match at the end. So I actually thought that was decent. But overall, the match, it wasn't bad. Becky pulls out the victory. But the problem I had with the match wasn't the match itself. It wasn't the work in the match. It was the stipulation of the match. Who in their right mind actually believed that there was a chance, a prayer's chance in hell, that Becky Lynch was going to lose this match and then tattoo "Thank you, Trish" on her chest? Honestly, who thought that was going to happen? This was a horrible stipulation. Nobody bought into this at all. At least I didn't. The moment that Trish Stratus said that shit in her promo last week, I immediately was like, what the hell? Why would they even throw that out there? It reminded me of when Roman Reigns had that match with John Cena at SummerSlam. Grant, way better match, bigger program, I understand. But bear with me here for this second, for the sake of conversation. When Roman had that match with John Cena, do you remember the Friday right before SummerSlam? Roman said, either I'm walking out of SummerSlam with the championship or I'm walking out of WWE. And I was like, what? Why would you throw that stipulation in there? I mean, we already knew Roman was going to win, but any chance that John Cena had just went out the window. Because why would we believe that Roman Reigns in the middle of his prime, having the biggest run of his career, is just going to walk away from WWE? Even if he loses, why would we believe that? I mean, it was already tough for us to believe that Roman was going to win or lose the match. But then you throw in that stipulation, and it's just a foregone conclusion that Roman's going to win. This is the exact same type of thing. Had no idea why they threw that stipulation in there. It killed all the suspense and drama, in my opinion, of this match. Nonetheless, the match was solid, decent work. Becky comes out with the win. And I believe this is Zoey's first loss on the main roster. And it basically just says we're going to get a Becky and Trish match, which we all knew. We're going to get that at SummerSlam. I wonder if that's going to be a stipulation or not, but nonetheless, we'll wait and see. Moving on to the next match or next segment we had Cody Rhodes coming out. And I have to say, as far as Cody Rhodes, man, his reactions on Raw are getting louder and louder and louder and louder. I have to say, man, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. I love what Cody Rhodes has been doing. The crowds are definitely accepting of him more and more and more. Anyone that tells you that Cody Rhodes is not that over, they're lying to you, and they're lying to themselves. He comes out and they sing immediately his song. Immediately they sing his song. The woe gets louder and louder each week, every city that they go to. But he comes out and, in Cody Rhodes fashion, Tampa Bay, what you want to talk about? He's talking about Brock Lesnar. And look, I have no problem with this promo. If you've heard any of Cody's promos about Brock in the past, this was no different. He talked about how, he wants to beat up Brock Lesnar and, challenged him, or excuse me, he talked about the upcoming match at SummerSlam. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, and I'm not saying this is a bad Cody Rhodes promo. It just feels like whenever Brock is not there, Cody does and says the exact same thing. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, okay, I need something announced for this match because we know there's going to be a stipulation. There has to be a stipulation. I don't know what that stipulation will be, but nonetheless, we got to get something because, first match was a regular straight up match. Second match was a regular straight up match. Or at least I think the first match was no DQ, I think. Was it? Can't remember at the Backlash match. But this match needs to have something involved. Something involved. Whatever it is, no holds barred. I see little Trey said that, but something needs to be involved in this match as far as the stipulation goes. But the promo was fine. It was good. It got a good reaction. So that was solid. Moving on to the next segment, we had Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio. I thought this was a really good match. This is one of the best matches I've ever seen Dominic have. I'm talking singles. They go back and forth earlier on in the match. But it gets to the point where the Judgment Day get involved. They try to attack Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens gets on the apron, and he pushes off Damian Priest. But unfortunately, the referee kicks Kevin Owens out. And then obviously everyone's mad. They're booing, blah blah blah. But the craziest thing is that he then kicks out the Judgment Day, or at least Rhea and Damian Priest, who were on the sideline. And I was like, okay, I understand we're supposed to be happy for this, right? But all they did was laugh. In the eyes of the referee, they didn't really do anything. that was kind of tough, but hey, it is what it is. He kicks them out, sends them to the back. Him and Dominic, Sami and Dominic, they go back and forth. There was a nice spot where Dominic went for like a 619. Sami moved out the way. And then he caught him in one motion in the midair when Dominic charged at him, and he hit him with the Blue Thunder Bomb. The Blue Thunder Bomb always looks amazing. One of the best moves in WWE and wrestling today, honestly. I love that move so much. But they keep going back and forth. Sami is lining up for the haluva kick, and then you see the Judgment Day. They just throw Kevin Owens out. Looks like they've beaten him up. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, they've beaten up Kevin Owens. They just toss him out. Dominic catches Sami Zayn with a roll-up pin, 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. Dominic retains the North American Championship. Now, like I said, this is a good match. I saw people complaining, why is Dominic winning all these matches by cheating? This is where I say wrestling fans are so fickle and they don't really know what they want. Because if Dominic won this match clean, I guarantee you there would have been people saying, what the hell? Why are they burying Sami Zayn? Why is he losing to Dominic Mysterio clean? But nonetheless, I thought this was fine. Dominic is a heel. Heels cheat to win. Roman Reigns, go look at majority of his matches. He's cheating to win. He cheated to beat Cody at WrestleMania, okay? I wouldn't be shocked if he cheats at SummerSlam too against Jay. That's just what heels do. I had no problem whatsoever with the finish. But nonetheless, we fast forward the commercial. We come back and Kevin Owens is injured. This is where I think they actually are writing him off because later on in the show, Sami comes out and there's no Kevin Owens. But we'll get to that part later on. Hopefully, and I mean hopefully, Kevin Owens' injury is not severe to the point that he's going to miss weeks or maybe even months because that would be so tough. That would be so tough for their championship reign. But yeah. Next segment we had Apollo Crews confronting Damian Priest. First of all, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even know Apollo Crews was still on the roster. I didn't know this nigga was still on the roster. That shit threw me for a loop. I can't lie to you. But Dominic comes out, or excuse me, not Dominic. Apollo comes out. He confronts. He gets all in Damian Priest's face. He's like, "You guys think you own the place?" Blah 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 blah. Damian Priest is like, "All right, man. I'll see you outside. You'll get your punishment because Damian Priest is the Punisher of the Judgment Day." Let me take a sip. Damian Priest is the Punisher of the Judgment Day. So yeah, that set up a match later on for Apollo Crews versus Damian Priest. I think you guys know how that went, but we'll get to that later. Then we had Bronson Reed versus Tommaso Ciampa. First of all, shout out to WWE for finally giving Tommaso his theme song back. No One Will Survive. That's a great song. I love that song. I have high hopes for Tommaso Ciampa. I think he's going to do well in the main roster because Triple H loves this guy. He does. And there's another guy that he loves too that's linked with Tommaso Ciampa that I'm going to get to in a second after this segment, after I talk about this match. Nonetheless, this match was good. I thought they had really solid chemistry. It wasn't amazing, but it was solid. Ciampa even got Bronson Reed up for a white noise at one point in the match. And I say white noise because I really don't know what that move is called. I know that's a Sheamus move. So you guys, I'm a casual. I'm not like a crazy big wrestling fan as far as all these moves and shit. But regardless, I thought this was a really good match. Ciampa then is interrupted by Shinsuke Nakamura, who comes out because in the segment before, Ciampa literally told Shinsuke, do not come out in my match. I'm sorry I came out in yours. We're even now. So what does Shinsuke do? Obviously, he comes out during Ciampa's match with Bronson Reed, gets involved. And then, of course, Bronson Reed wins with the Tsunami Splash, which, by the way, gets over and over, or should I say more and more over every single week on Raw. Shout out to Bronson Reed. But I just couldn't help but think, what is happening here? Who is feuding with who? Because it started off with Ciampa feuding with Miz. Then Bronson Reed comes out and interrupts that match, costs Ciampa the match against the Miz. We seemingly get no explanation. I don't think the Miz and Ciampa are even tied together. I thought they were going to be tied together as, Bronson Reed being some type of bodyguard for the Miz, and then that would lead into, DIY forming together. They would take them down. But no, like the Miz was not on this show tonight. So I wonder if was that just a way to get to a Bronson Reed and Ciampa feud, or maybe Shinsuke is going to team up with Bronson Reed and it's going to be like a double turn or some shit. I don't know. And then DIY is going to form, because I do not know what's happening here. I don't know who's feuding with who. If Shinsuke is feuding with Ciampa, or Shinsuke is feuding with Bronson, or if Shinsuke is feuding with them both, and they're just all feuding together, and maybe it's going to be a triple threat match. But I don't know. I was just so confused on what the dynamics are in this feud. And that leads me into what I'm so confused about as far as Johnny Gargano. Because I could have swore a couple weeks ago they teased us that DIY was going to come together, right? Because remember that segment with The Way, with Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano, and Candice LeRae. They had a segment where Johnny Gargano was like, hey, he's going to be back soon. And I'm like, okay, DIY is coming together. Maybe Tommaso Ciampa's on his way back. Tommaso Ciampa came back. I have not seen Johnny Gargano on any of these shows. And mind you, that show that Ciampa came back, that was in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny Gargano's hometown. So I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't know. Maybe Johnny Gargano is injured. I haven't checked none of those reports. I haven't seen that at all. I feel bad for Johnny Gargano, man. I really do, because he should be getting TV time. And they've really done nothing with him. Everybody was like, oh, he's not coming back because Vince McMahon is running the show. Well, Triple H is running the show, and it doesn't seem like he has much interest in putting Johnny Gargano on TV. I'm just be honest. Because it all went downhill as soon as they changed his theme song. When they changed it from the woman to the man singing the song, it got worse. And it went downhill from there. But let's move on to the next segment. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, they were scheduled to have a match. First, we had a backstage promo with Liv Morgan saying, oh, I may not have a chance, but I may surprise you, because, that's Liv Morgan's thing now. Or not even now. That's always been her thing. I may lose. I'm the underdog, but watch out. Watch me, right? That's the beginning of her song. Watch me. Nonetheless, then it transitions to Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, who I'm happy for that they're the new women's tag team champions. I hope they can bring some type of prestige to that championship, or those titles, I should say. I think the titles are kind of whack at this point, but Chelsea Green and Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they have really good chemistry on the mic. Their personalities mesh really well. I would have been more higher on the Chelsea Green and Carmella tag team, because that's what they were pushing at first. It looked really nice, but then obviously Carmella got pregnant, plans changed. And Mandy Rose, I think, was a really good person to plug into that spot with Chelsea Green. They cut a nice little promo. They said, why are you interviewing Liv? Then Rhea comes out. They walk away in fear. I mean, I would too. And And Rhea's just like, Liv has to learn to not mess with me, all that shit. Then Rhea and Liv, they have their match. And I'm not going to lie, obviously it wasn't a match. Rhea attacked Liv from the jump and beat the shit out of her. I mean, this was a gruesome beatdown. After the beat, or not after, but at the end of the beatdown, she took a chair, put her arm in it, stomped on the chair. Stomped on it, and Liv sold this shit. She was screaming all over the place. She was crying in pain and agony. I can't move my arm. I can't move my arm. That's what Liv was doing. She was in pain. She sold this shit as if she got shot in the arm. But yeah, and then Rhea, against all the doctor's wishes and the ref's wishes, she told them to get the fuck out the way. She took the chair again, put Liv's arm in it again, and stomped on it. Now, there are reports that Liv Morgan is also injured, which makes a lot of sense that they would put this angle out here. If anything, maybe Liv will be hurt for a while, come back later on, and they'll pick up this feud. I'm expecting next week for Raquel and, what's her name? Raquel and Rhea to have their match. Not match, excuse me, but set up their match for SummerSlam, because I assume that's going to be the next program for Rhea for SummerSlam, because there's just no way that knee injury last week was real for Raquel. Lil Trey, she did do the DX cross chop. That was really cool. My problem, honestly, though, with all this is like Rhea is so dominant that it's almost hard for you to book challengers for her right now, because obviously outside of Becky, which I think that could have been a SummerSlam match, but she's preoccupied with Trish Stratus right now. Outside of Becky, who really on that roster is credible to face Rhea Ripley? They just wrote Liv Morgan off TV. Raquel will be back next week, but after SummerSlam, what's next? Will Liv be back? I don't know how severe the injury is. Maybe she'll be back and they'll have a match. But like, who on the roster is ready for Rhea? I mean, Asuka's on SmackDown, Bianca's on SmackDown, Charlotte's on SmackDown, Io's on SmackDown, Bayley's on SmackDown. What's on Raw? Nikki Cross, Maxine Dupree, and I'll get to Maxine because that's a fine woman, very fine woman. But there was just nothing here. There's nothing in that division. And it's sad because Liv just came back from an injury and now she's on the shelf again. I hope she's going to be okay. I hope she'll be back soon. But speaking of Maxine Dupree, that leads into something else I want to get on. Someone said Alexa Bliss is AFK. Yeah, Alexa Bliss she's off the roster. She's pregnant, if I'm not mistaken. But there's something else I want to get on, because Maxine, man, fuck. You talk about a fine ass woman. Sheesh. Let me show y'all something. I saw Maxine today. Top five milk. Let me show y'all something. Look at that. Y'all know how I feel about white shorties. That's not my cup of tea, really. But man, that's some premium milk. Premium. Look at that. Top five. I ain't gonna lie to you. Top five. Man, where do get out of here? She is not no Chelsea Green. No, there's levels to this. Look at Chad Gable. You know what he's thinking. I know what he's thinking. But yeah, that's definitely top five milk. But yeah, they cut a promo, the Alpha Academy. Maxine challenged Valhalla, aka the old Sarah Logan, to a match. Challenged her to a match. So next week we're gonna get Valhalla versus Maxine Dupree. So I'm sure that'll go like 3 minutes. There's no way that's going that long. But we move on. Ricochet and Logan Paul. There's not much to say about what Ricochet said because he just repeated the same thing. He's like, hey, Logan Paul is talented. I know some of you guys may not think so, but he is. And he called him a prick. I don't think I've ever heard anybody on WWE TV say someone's a prick. But he called him a prick. That invited Logan to come out and attack him from behind. Logan then got his phone and, started recording, kind of like how Austin Theory used to record people back in the day. Which I thought, by the way, they shouldn't have stopped that gimmick when they did. That was actually a really solid gimmick. But, you know, Logan did the same thing. He was recording recording Ricochet in the back behind him. And then, you know, Ricochet comes up, attacks Logan Paul. And I don't even really know, because like after he attacked him, he just walked out the ring. And to be honest, yeah, someone said Ricochet sounds like an NPC on the mic. Yeah, you're right. He does. That's really it. Like, honestly, that was really it. Ricochet just attacked Logan Paul afterwards. He hit him with a super kick. That's all. That's all that happened in this segment. This wasn't a bad segment, but it's just like, what was really the difference between this segment and last week's segment? Not much. Afterwards, backstage, Logan said he's going to be on Raw next week, which is going to be in Houston. I'm going to do my best to show up to that Raw. More likely I won't be able to, but I'm sad that SmackDown is not coming to Houston soon. They're going to New Orleans this Friday. If I had planned, I would have gone there, but, you know, it is what it is. Regardless, though, yeah, this was really nothing different than last week's segment. Like I said, you could have missed this show, and I don't think you would have missed that much. I mean, like I said, Rhea beating up Liv, I mean, who gives a shit, honestly, because we knew they weren't going to have a match at SummerSlam. We knew this is all just building to Rhea versus Raquel. Yeah. Nothing really went on here. Then we move on to Damian Priest. Or actually, no, before we get to Damian Priest, Shayna Basler. Shayna Basler cut a promo. And look, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to clip this. I'm going to post this probably tomorrow. Shayna Basler cut a promo. Ronda Rousey cut a promo. And, you know, that's one of the scariest things you could say in this business. Ronda Rousey cut a promo. But Shayna Basler cut a promo. And she's basically like, I'm challenging Ronda to a fight. Ronda then accepts the accepts the match, and she says, oh, no one challenged me to a fight. I am the fight. Urgh. And she accepts it. And look, Ronda Rousey, I'm going to be honest. When she has a mic in her hand, I get scared. But Shayna Basler, she's not that great on the mic either. Neither of them are great on the mic. And this feud has been extremely fucking disappointing. Extremely disappointing. They better make up for it with a good match at SummerSlam, because so far I am not moved. They're trying to make Shayna this baby face in this feud, but the only reason she gets cheered is whenever she shits on Ronda Rousey. Because everybody hates Ronda Rousey. Everybody knows Ronda Rousey has been underwhelming since she came back to the fucking company. And Shayna Baszler's promos are just capitalizing off of that hate that Ronda has garnered because of that situation. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have faith that they're going to have a good match, because Ronda and Shayna, I don't think either of them have been great in the ring over the last year or so, especially Shayna Baszler. I've never been too high on Shayna Baszler in the ring. And Ronda Rousey, since she came back, has not been good. She has not been good at all. In all aspects. The one thing about Ronda that I'll give her is her selling. But this shit sucks, man. Like, this feud is not good. It is not good. The only way they can salvage this is if they go balls to the wall and just kick ass at SummerSlam. And I'm expecting a fight pit match because, you know, Shayna says she doesn't want a match. She wants to fight. So I'm assuming maybe they're going to bring back the fight pit. So maybe they'll do that. But, man, this was trash, dog. Like, these two, like, wrap this shit the fuck up. For real. This was booty cheeks. But let's move on. Damian Priest had a match against Apollo Crews. I don't even have too much to say about this. Apollo got a little bit of offense, caught him with a knee. But for the most part, Damian Priest dominated. This didn't go too long. Hit him with the South of Heaven choke slam. That was really it. Not too much to say about that. Imperium and Drew McIntyre. This was probably, if not the best, the second. Actually, no. There were three things I would say were good. Sami, Zayn, and Dominic, their match. Imperium and Drew McIntyre in the closing segment. Those three things are like the three best things on the show. This was really good, though. Imperium came out. Drew McIntyre followed. They cut a promo. Gunther basically called Drew McIntyre a failure. and that's why the fans can relate to him. He said that he lost his match at Clash at the Castle with Roman Reigns. He lost to him at WrestleMania because don't forget, Drew McIntyre took the pin in that match. It wasn't Sheamus. It was Drew McIntyre, which kind of even makes it a little bit more bizarre that Drew's going to come back and get this championship match, but, whatever. But then Drew McIntyre responded, and he basically said, I'm going to kick your ass. You're going to see why I'm the chosen one. I'm going to become the new U.S. champion. Just basic babyface heel stuff going on here, which was fine. But then after that, Drew makes a comment, and I'm getting a little worried because Drew made a comment and said, because Kaiser interrupted, and he was like, oh, how dare you talk that way to the ring, all that shit. Which, by the way, Kaiser, peak dick rider. Peak dick rider. Top 5 dick riders I've ever seen. Just rides that shit. Does cartwheels on that shit. Gunther's married, if I'm not mistaken, bro. Get off of him. But nonetheless, Kaiser, he's like, how dare you talk to Gunther like that, blah, blah, blah. And Drew then responds and is like, you're way more entertaining than this guy. And he points to Gunther. And he says, you should be the leader of Imperium. And I'm not going to lie. Why did Drew say that? I have no problem if he just said it and that's all. Like, we just never get back to that. But I'm getting scared that they're trying to break up Imperium. Because let's not forget, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, Vinci took the pinfall loss in their match against Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre. It was him and Kaiser versus Matt Riddle and Drew. Vinci took the loss. Afterwards, Gunther looked back at Vinci in disgust and walked away. Kaiser did the same thing and walked away. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I really hope they're not about to break these guys up. Now, Vinci's really good. He could actually be solid as a singles, but they're better together. Because let's be real, Vinci, if he goes off and be a singles, and the same thing applies to Kaiser, they're out of the company in a year or two. They're not going to last. We've seen from examples like the Hurt fucking Business. You don't break up these groups, man. You don't break them up. It's way too early to even tease a breakup with these groups. Look at how it worked out for Cedric and Benjamin. These guys are jobbers now. The same thing will happen to Kaiser and Vinci. I promise you. They're not good enough on their own to withstand a singles push. They're not. Or at least the company doesn't look at them in that light. Because I actually think they're both good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think that the company is going to withstand them being legitimate single stars. But then Drew challenges Kaiser to a match. He accepts. They have a nice match. Nice back and forth between these two. They go into the commercial break with Kaiser kicking Drew McIntyre out the ring. They come back. Drew gets some momentum. Hits him with the headbutt. I believe with the Glasgow kiss. And then he's setting up for the what's the move? The Claymore kick. He does a 3-2-1. Runs up at Kaiser. Kaiser then reverses with the kick to the face. But later on, Drew rebounds off the rope, off of a missed clothesline from Kaiser, and he hits him with the Claymore 1-2-3. That's it. But then Vinci gets on the apron to distract Drew. Gunther comes in the ring and attacks Drew McIntyre. Throws him out the ring, and of course, Matt Riddle comes out. Matt Riddle attacks Vinci, knocks him out, but then Gunther hits Riddle with a really nice powerbomb. Got some nice height off that. Because sometimes Gunther's powerbombs can be a little bit sloppy. So I thought this was actually a really good. This might have been the best powerbomb he's hit, like, since his time on the roster. But this was a really good powerbomb. After that, he then goes outside, lifts the table. I believe throughout the whole match with Drew and Kaiser, at least halfway through it, the crowd started chanting, "We want tables." So Gunther then, after the match, finally gives the crowd what they want. Moves the stuff off the table. Is about to put he's about to put Drew through the table with the powerbomb. Drew then reverses with the back body drop, picks up Gunther in powerbomb position, and drops him on the table with the powerbomb. Really good stuff here. He then poses. He poses with the championship. I thought this was good. I thought this was a really good segment. I had no problem with this whatsoever. Establishes Drew. But I'm not going to lie. I'm getting a little scared. I'm getting a little scared that Gunther might lose that championship. You can't tell me you guys aren't a little bit scared. You can't tell me. By the way, I see some of you guys' questions. We're going to do a Q&A after this. I've starred some of the questions that I think are good. Not like you guys are asking bad questions, but I start some of the questions that I want to touch upon. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this was good. I like this. But then we move on to the final segment of the show. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins contract signing. Finn Balor comes out and immediately is showered in the Seth Rollins "whoa" chants. And I got scared. I was like, oh my God, they're going to take over the segment like they did a couple weeks ago. Remember that segment with Finn Balor and Seth Rollins where Finn was trying to talk to Seth? He was trying to talk serious. And the crowd just kept showering him in the Seth Rollins chants. They were just like, whoa, oh, over and over and over and over. They gave him the whoa chants over. And like, you just couldn't really connect with anything Balor was saying because you couldn't even hear him half of the time. And I was scared that was going to happen here, but eventually they died down with their chants. Seth Rollins comes out. He's talking to Finn Balor and he tells him, look, man, you're not going to win at SummerSlam. And if you do win at SummerSlam, Damian Priest is going to cash in on you and beat you for that championship with his Money in the Bank contract. And the only reason you know I'm not lying is because you would do the same thing. Now, I don't really have too much of an issue with Rollins saying that, but my only, I'm like 50-50 on him mentioning that because now that they've acknowledged it on TV, it won't really be that big of a surprise if Damian Priest does it because I think there's a good chance Balor wins the championship and Priest cashes in on him. But I don't really like the fact that he mentioned it. It's not the worst thing in the world because I'm sure people were probably thinking that was a possibility, but to mention it, I just don't think that he should have. But Balor then gets on the mic and he's like, hey, man, you shouldn't be worried about that. I got family everywhere. And all these niggas pull up. Rhea pulls up. Damian pulls up. Dominic pulls up. And they beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. And while they're beating the shit out of Seth Rollins, Damian Priest has his briefcase. And he looks at it. And he looks at Balor. And they kind of have like a little moment where he's like, hey, dude, like, I'm thinking about cashing this shit in, nigga. I'm thinking about cashing it in. But then Sami Zayn comes out to ruin the fun. He gets in the ring. He brings a chair, attacks Damian Priest and Finn Balor. But then Rhea grabs the chair out of Sami Zayn's hands. And then they beat the shit out of Sami Zayn too. And they take Sami Zayn outside. They throw a bunch of chairs on him and tables on him, bury him underneath that. And then they beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. I believe Damian Priest gave Seth Rollins the South of Heaven. Dominic gives Seth Rollins the Frog Splash. And Finn Balor gives Seth Rollins the coup de grace. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. No cap. Seth Rollins' ribs have to be the most painful shit I have ever seen. This guy has been getting his ass whooped in his ribs. His ribs cannot breathe right now. My God, he's got to have a broken rib in kayfabe, right? If he doesn't show up to SummerSlam with some tape or some shit, this shit is fake, man. Oh, man. But nonetheless, I thought this was a nice little closing angle. They posed at the end. You could tell at the end they were kind of like hurrying for time because if you saw Damian Priest, he was kind of like rushing to get in line with the Judgment Day when they were posing. That was kind of funny to me. But that's how they went off the air. But the Judgment Day once again being dominant. The Judgment Day are running these shows. They're running these shows. I mean, like I said, they started off with the segment of KO and Sami Zayn. Later on, we got Sami Zayn versus Dominic. Then the Apollo Crews versus Damian Priest match. Rhea beat the fucking shit out of Liv Morgan. And then they closed out the show with the Balor and Rollins contract signing. They are all over these shows. And I'm really happy that the Judgment Day is getting this shine because if you told me a year ago that they'd be this dominant and be in this position, I'm not going to lie to you. I would not have believed you because they were floundering. And what gave them that boost, you know, people may hate to admit this, but it was Dominic Mysterio joining the group. After Dominic joined the group, they started booking them a lot more serious. A lot more serious. Balor started winning matches. He won against Edge in that I Quit match. Damian Priest, even though he took somewhat of a back seat, What's been happening over the last couple of months? They've been pushing him. He had that great match with Bad Bunny at Backlash. One of the best matches all year. They trusted him. It takes a lot of trust to put him in that position. By the way, they should have been the main event. But I digress. Then on top of that, you have him win Money in the Bank. Not Seth Rollins. Dominic Mysterio. Big match against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Now he's the North American champion. And like Daishan said, Dominic is the first wrestler to main event SmackDown, Raw, and NXT in the same week. And not only is he main eventing these shows, he's defending his championship, defending his title. The Judgment Day is on top right now. They are dominating Monday Night Raw. For real, they are. We got to give them the credit where it's due. But that concludes Raw. Like I said, you could have missed this show, and I don't think you would have missed much. You could go on YouTube and watch the clips. You do not have to watch this full show. There was some nice things here and there, but I don't think this show was anything that if you missed, you're going to be like, damn, I missed Raw. I don't think it's anything like that. But let's get on to some of these questions. Like I said, if you guys got any questions for me, feel free to drop them down below in the comment section. First question, should Logan Paul compete for a world title? I mean, he's already done it, right? He competed against Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. Let's not forget now. He had a match with Roman Reigns. That was one of the best matches of Roman Reigns' run as the champion. A lot of people were so sad. They were so mad. Oh, why is Logan Paul cutting in line? What's the Saudi Arabia show? They want the attractions. It makes sense. And Logan had a great match. So I can see him competing for a world title. I can see him being the one to beat Seth Rollins, honestly. I know a lot of people would hate that idea. And a lot of people want Gunther to be that guy. And I do think Gunther has a good chance as well. But I would not be shocked if Logan Paul is the guy to beat Seth Rollins and get his win back. But yeah, Logan Paul should compete for a world title, but just not right now. I wouldn't do that right now. The next one, what's worse, Shayna and Ronda's feud? Shayna and Ronda's feud or Trish and Becky Lynch's feud? Oof. I'm going to go Ronda and Shayna easily. And I'm going to say easily because, for one, like, nobody likes them. I'm going to be real. People that say they're fans of Shayna Basler, be serious. What is it about Shayna Basler that's cool? She's boring. She's boring. She's boring. In the ring, on the mic, has no personality. She has a badass factor about her, but they haven't really booked her well as far as that goes. I just don't think this is something that motivates people. The only thing cool about this feud was how it started when Ronda got her ass beat by Shayna. That was the only thing cool about this feud. But yeah, this was an easy question. I'm not gonna lie. Next question: should Drew turn heel? No, Drew McIntyre should not turn heel. Maybe later on, but I don't think he should be turning heel right now. We have a couple of heels on the roster on Raw. I don't think you need to turn Drew McIntyre heel. I think Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins could be a really good match. That could be a match I'd like to see for that world title. Or, you know, if Finn Balor wins and he doesn't get cashed in on, I'd like to see Finn versus Drew. Or hell, if Damian Priest wins, I would like to see Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I don't think you need to turn Drew McIntyre heel just yet. I mean, eventually they probably will have to turn him heel. But like I said, there's a good chance he might win that championship. They might have promised him that IC title just so he could stay in WWE. I'm just saying. That is a possibility. Yeah. Someone said, do you think they should take off the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? They already did, if I'm not mistaken. They already took it away, which is good, because ever since Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins had that match, that horrible Hell in a Cell match, it's been about damn time that they get rid of that pay-per-view. Someone said, who do you think is better at glazing their opponent, John Cena or Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes, easily. Cody Rhodes. John Cena would have segments back then where he'd be like, fine speech, and then he'd bury you. Like, straight up, he'd just bury you on the mic. Just ask The Rock. Ask The Rock, he'll tell you. But I think that wraps up this stream. I really do appreciate you guys showing up. I know I didn't have too many people up in here watching, but you guys, appreciate all of y'all for showing up. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep doing live streams like this. Maybe I'll answer one more question actually before I go. Who do you think is the next superstar to make a return? It's going to be Bray Wyatt, right? That's been all the reports that Bray Wyatt or Randy Orton. I actually want to make I'll save my predictions. Because I do think something will happen with Bray Wyatt eventually. But I'll save that for when I get to my SummerSlam predictions. But I do think it'll be Bray Wyatt or Randy Orton. Either of those two. But yeah, I think that concludes this video. This stream, I should say. Thank you guys for showing up. Like I said, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. Little Trey, you're right. Throw the ones up. But like I said, I appreciate all of you guys for showing the support. I'm out, man. Y'all stay safe. Appreciate it.